Hello, and welcome to Andree Unfiltered, episode number 8. So, I am Denise Andree, if you did not know already. And yeah, this is my podcast where I share everything and nothing. I talk about almost everything and absolutely nothing. Mostly, I'm just talking about different topics that I have been thinking about, or that is something that I want to reflect on. And today is one of the topics that it's very close to my heart, and it's talking about judging and how I think that people are judging other people too fast in the reality. And my journey when it comes to judging, because I have to say I have done kind of a journey when it comes to being judgmental. I used to be way more judgmental, and that was something that I absolutely did not like about myself. And I have been breaking it down into bits and pieces, and I am not in far as judgmental today, but of course I still have things to work on. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this and my opinions about being judgmental in general. Because I think, if I'm going to be honest, there are very few people in the world that you would not get along with at all if you did give it a chance. There are some people, of course, but in the big picture, I think that we are not getting along with more people than we actually could if we just made an effort, or if we just stopped being so judgmental. So I nowadays I say that honestly everyone could be superior to you. So being too judgmental and looking down at someone just because in that moment you might be in a superior point, that doesn't mean that in another scenario it could be the complete opposite. So honestly, it all comes down to in which aspect you're meeting someone. For example, a doctor. Take a doctor, for example. If you are meeting a doctor in a hospital and in a doctor-patient situation, the doctor is superior to you because he or she will have more knowledge about the topic that is going to be discussed in that room at that time. But it could be the complete opposite if the two of you met in your niche where you have the profession. Then it's the complete opposite. Then you will be superior with more knowledge in the area than the doctor. And the same thing goes with people that are doing completely different things. If we take someone that is cleaning bathrooms, for example, it doesn't mean that just because that person might not be as highly educated, or maybe they are and they are cleaning bathrooms anyhow, that we don't really know, so we shouldn't be so judgmental. But it doesn't mean that in another scenario they have a lot of knowledge about something that you don't know anything about. So I am trying to always think that it could be something from every single person that I could learn something from. There is always some knowledge that almost everyone has that I could learn from. So that means it just depends on in which scenario in life I am meeting this person. So I'm not looking down at people at all. And I remember I touched base on that in another episode before, that I don't like the way we are introducing ourselves, or when we meet new people, the first questions we are asking them is how old they are, where they are living, and what they are working with. And honestly, I think those, the last two ones, where they live and what they are working with, it's kind of something that puts a stamp on the person when you meet them. Why is that so important? I don't like that. It doesn't say anything about the person in front of you. It just only say which address they have and what they're working with, but it doesn't say anything about their knowledge, about their, like, if there's anything that you can adapt from their life into your life, how they are as human beings. Like, it doesn't really say anything other than their work. And even if they have a super superior work, it doesn't mean that they are superior as humans. They can be really shitty humans but still have a really good job title. That doesn't really say anything about them as human beings, but yet it is something that we are so quick to put people that are highly educated or having titles and having jobs that we call are like high profession jobs and things. We kind of put them in the category that we look up to them right away. But when it is the opposite way around, for example, if we meet someone that are cleaning toilets, for example, I'm not saying that that is a shitty job. That's not a job I would like to do, but I don't say that, like, maybe some people love it. And we shouldn't be judgmental about it, and we shouldn't think that we are superior just because we are more highly educated. It doesn't have to be the one way or another. And I don't like that people are judging other people so quickly nowadays, because honestly, there is always something you can learn from everyone if you just are in the right forum at the time. And it all comes down to where you meet the person, in which situation you will meet the person. And I don't think people think like that. They just mostly take it for what it is right now, and it doesn't give you the big picture. And honestly, everyone deserves your respect until they have proven you otherwise. That's how I am trying to see things. Like, as long as someone have not proved you wrong in having respect towards them, why shouldn't you have respect towards another human being? And it's also towards other living beings, such as animals, and we should have respect for other living beings and not be so judgmental and just like put people in different categories with more or less respect. Respect shouldn't be earned by a title or an address. It should be earned by who you are as a human being. And if you strip away everything, that is the only thing that is saying who someone is as a person. If you strip away everything, the look, take away the address, the title, the education, the work, the money, the fame, everything, take all of that away, and there you have the human being. And that is the only thing that human beings should be judged for. Who they are towards themselves and towards other people and towards other living beings. That is the only thing that matters. And if you have that person in front of you without the labels, like the titles and everything, I bet you that there is something you can learn from that person. Even if it is the tiniest little thing, we always have some thing that people can inspire us with or teach us, or like, there's always something. But I think we're too quick to think sometimes that we are so superior, some people, that we don't even get the chance to end up in a situation where we could actually learn from that person. On the other hand, when it is someone that is, from what we see it, superior, we think that we can learn so much. But I think paying attention to the human beings behind everything else, then if you start doing that, you're going to have a completely different aspect of humans in general. And there are so much more to learn and to grasp when you see people for what they are, and not only for the abstract things around them. And that is something for me. Like, I would like to be judged for who I am as a person. And I've had that, I wouldn't say problem, because that sounds so dramatic, but for working as a model for so many years as I've been doing, people have a certain viewpoint. Like, they think they know, like, a model. They think they know how a model is. how a model is thinking. They think most of the time that models are stupid. They cannot do anything other than make money from their look. A lot of people also confuse it with being a very like simple work, which is not, but that's maybe another episode on its own. But people have been like categorizing models into being a little bit less intelligent, which I think is really stupid thing to do. And I have felt that many times in my life. I wouldn't say that I have had people thinking that I'm stupid. Maybe at first, I don't know. And I'm not saying that I am more smart than anyone else. I'm just saying that just putting a label on someone because of that, because I have so many other things that I could have done. I have been doing modeling for so many years because I love it. I think it's fun. I love creating art. I am very I like being very creative and doing sessions, and it's been something that has, like, I love what I do, but I do so many other things, and I have been doing so many other things, but it's like people have kind of, they get a little bit stuck on the model thing, like, oh, so you're a model, and then everything else is not important because they already make up their mind. And I've had a lot of people also saying after a while when they get to know me, like, oh, you're really not what I thought you were going to be from the beginning. Like, you have so much more when you get to know you, like, it's so much more behind it. And I think that is not only in my case, that is the case in many, many cases with people. If you just give them a chance and not being so judgmental, there are so many layers behind a human being, and you just sometimes have to peel off some of the layers in order to see more things than what's just on the outside. And you cannot do that if you are too judgmental. You're not gonna go any further or any deeper, which means how can you really judge someone when you just know the like shallow outside? You don't really know a person, and if you don't know a person, how can you say whether you like them or not? And then of course there are different people vibing on different levels. I have met people in my life which I'm instantly clicking with. I don't know them, but I'm instantly clicking with them, and we can like vibe on the same level. We have interesting things to discuss right on top, like from the very beginning. And I have some people where I meet them and sometimes not really clicking, not really vibing, but most of the time it doesn't mean that I have to count them away right away, because it sometimes just can take a little bit of time. Then of course we have the people that we meet them time and time again, and it's just people that you don't have the same values, you don't have the same vibes, you don't have the same energy. It's just not a person that you feel that you get any exchange from or anything. And of course there are some people like that, but I think many people in general are thinking that more people are in that category than they actually are, because they're just not giving them time to show any other sides of themselves. Or maybe it can also be that you meet this person in the same scenario every single time, but if you just switched it up and met that person outside of that environment where you always see that person, maybe it will be completely different. Maybe the experience would be completely different, because sometimes it can also be in which scenario. Like if you always see someone at the gym, maybe that person is not very themselves, or maybe they are in a different headspace when they are at the gym. Maybe that's not the place where they want to be chatty, where they are very nice to other people, and they are maybe stressed. Maybe that's the place where they cannot show themselves fully, and you all like only see that person at the gym. How can you really know? You cannot build yourself the full experience of how that person is if you only meet them at the gym and say, no, I don't like that person. That's not a very nice person. But maybe that's only a reflection of how they are at the gym. Maybe that's not reflecting anything how they are outside the gym. So I think not being too judgmental, it's something that is going to benefit other, but mostly it's going to benefit yourself in the long terms, because in the long run, if you're not judging people too fast, it will give you so much more value to your life when you see that other people have so much to give to you without giving away anything. Like learning from other people in good and bad ways. You can also learn from other people how you do not want to be or what you do not want to do. Not everything that you're learning have to be in a positive aspect. It can also be, oh, that person did that. I don't want to be a person that is doing it like that. Or that person reacted in this situation like this. I'm going to learn from that because I don't want to be reacting like that. So I'm going to take that in consideration for the future and learn from it. So being too quick and like turning your head away from people too fast, I don't think it's any beneficial for you. With that being said, of course, if there are people just draining you or that is always putting you down in your energy mood or something, of course, that's not someone you should keep in your life. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think that we are sometimes too quick to jump on a judgmental conclusion that could be changed if we were just a little bit more open-minded. And most of the people have qualities. Like, I don't think that they are purely just good and bad people. Of course, there are bad people in the world. It is like we have people in the world that are doing crazy things, and honestly, that I think maybe they used their chance in the society, and maybe they shouldn't be in this like social events at all. But I'm saying most of the people are neither good or bad. They're just people, and it all depends on the chances they are getting and in which light you let them shine. And I also think that this is very sensitive. Like, I don't want to talk about religion here like that because it's a very toxic topic, I would say. But I think also to judge people out of things like religion or where they are from or the color of their skin or anything like that is as bad as judging someone for their work or where they live or anything like that. I think honestly, we cannot say that all people from one country is like bad people. You have to meet the person. And the same thing with religion. I think it's you cannot say that, oh, just because a person has a specific religion, you don't like them. Because that's not meeting the person. That's judging someone for their religion. But there are millions of people in the world that has a certain religion, and that doesn't mean that everyone is the same. You have to meet the person that you have in front of you and not jumping on conclusions and being too quick to judge them from other things like religion or the color of their skin, because that has nothing to do with who someone is as a human being or where they are from, like from which country they are from. That says absolutely nothing about the person. Maybe it can tell a little bit about what like traditions and some, but it doesn't really say that all people from America, they are like this, all people from Europe are like this, all people from Australia, like you cannot really say that. Then we have some things that a lot of people from the same countries have in common. But I think that we should just meet people and not judge them based on other things other than who are they? Who is the person I have in front of me, no matter all of the other things. So that is something that I have been working on a lot, because I used to be more judgmental, and I used to be thinking like, okay, my gut feeling is saying me something straight away when I meet someone, and that's never going to change. And yeah, I can tell, like, I usually believe and trust my gut feeling. And I don't say that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that the first impression is not always reflecting how a person is in the long term. Like, to be too quick to judge someone based on the first impression, many times than not, we change our mind if we do give that person time. And that can go both ways. Sometimes we have a really good impression of someone and we think like, wow, this person is amazing. But then when you get to know the person, you see that maybe it was not a truthful first impression. Maybe it's something else beneath it, that like behind it, that is not as pure as they wanted to reflect themselves. Maybe you see that it was like some sort of facade to make things look better than it was. Like, I think that basing everything on the first impression can sometimes put you in very different relationships aspects, like good or bad. Like, you think that someone is a good person, but they might not be. And just because your first impression said to you that, oh, this person is someone really good, it doesn't have to be like that. But yeah, bottom line, give people some time. And there are very few people, very, very few people that would be always superior, or always where you would always be superior. It only matters where you meet them. It's a funny, I don't remember, is it the triangle of I don't do scripts, so maybe if I did a script and I wrote this down, but it's a movie called Triangle of Sadness, I think. Yeah, it's a Swedish director. And I saw that one, and I'm not going to spoil the movie completely if you haven't seen it. It's a very special movie. I cannot say whether I like it or not. It's just this type of movie that stays with you after, and you kind of reflect around it. And I think that's the whole purpose with the movie. But it is taking in consideration the things that I'm talking about today, how, without spoiling, how it's more the scenario that is going to rank the people rather than the people. Like, it's in which scenario you are meeting someone, the one that were beneath you. I don't like to talk about superior and beneath, but if we're going to put it out so you understand what I mean, if someone was beneath you and you were superior to them, that can change in a split of a second if the environment is changing, and if the scenario is changing, then that person can instantly be superior to you. So that's why I think we should have respect towards other people and treat people with respect in general, because that will lift yourself up so much more, and leaving yourself with a good aftertaste if you're just treating other living beings with more respect. Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. So, I think I'm going to leave it there. And thank you for tuning in today. If you have your own thoughts about this, feel free to share it with me in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, you can always contact me if there is something you want to reflect on. I would love to engage more. And thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope to see you in the next one. So tune in for the next, and make sure to click on follow also, so you don't miss when I'm uploading. And I'm uploading now Mondays and Fridays, so 2 times every week. And see you in my next episode. But until then, thank you so much for listening today. And bye.